Good evening, everyone. I hope that you all are doing well. Welcome, welcome. Give you a minute to come on in. Enjoy the music while you're here. I don't own the rights to this song. This is Kelly Clarkson, Because of You. Hello, good evening, everyone. Hello, hello. So while you're coming in, please like and share. Greet me as you come in. Let me know that you're here. Good evening, BJ. Thank you guys for joining. So tonight, so for those who are joining for the first time, my name is Theresa White, and I am a licensed mental health counselor, the CEO and registered drama therapist of In Time Creative Counseling Services located here in Terre Haute, Indiana. We do virtual and in-person sessions where my specializations are mood disorders, anxiety, depression, trauma, grief, and addictions. So, June, for those who may not be aware, is PTSD Awareness Month. And last week, we started off the month talking about what is trauma. So, if you did not see that video and you want to get information on that, you can go back to our last Monday's live. It is on our page. You can go to any lives previously on our page and be able to look at those. Tonight's live, as you just heard the song called Because of You from Kelly Clarkson or by Kelly Clarkson. I don't own the rights to the music, but I wanted you to hear the words. And so I wanted to start off. Oh, let me give a disclaimer. Before we get started too deep in our conversation, and I'll forget. So, information that we give tonight is solely for that purpose. This is not to replace a therapy session or to replace a diagnosis or to in any way indicate that we are diagnosing anyone. We're giving you information based on my mental health experience or my experience working in mental health. Probably is a better way to say that. And so I want you to take this information and use it. You can ask questions. You can share this video for those that you feel like this will be helpful to them. And then feel free, if you don't feel comfortable with asking questions directly on the live, that you can send me a question on our page, on our message, or send a message to our DMs on either platform, and then we will get back to you. Generally within 24 to 48 hours. Please be mindful that after the live today, I do leave the office. So if you send me a message tonight, I won't get that till tomorrow. But we will definitely try to get promptly back in touch with you. Tonight's live is Not Today, Satan. You might ever seen that T-shirt? You might have seen a T-shirt like that. You've seen a statement like that. People have posted it, and it's Not Today, Satan. And you're like, what are they talking about? And I've been hearing this statement. I don't know how long it's been since this has been a very popular statement. The Act of Avoidance is our topic for tonight. So, just want to let y'all know. Let me first of all give my own personal goal. I need to work on drinking more water, but coffee tastes better sometimes. So I need to just work on drinking more water. So yeah, help me with that. With regards to that, I know that tonight it is June 14th, 2021. And let me tell y'all what the special day is. June 14th is the day that I graduated high school. So this is my graduation anniversary. I'm not going to tell you how many years ago I graduated, but I do feel really old when I look at today. And I'm not old, but it makes me feel old to look at the fact that I have nieces and nephews who are in college, and family members who are graduating high school now, and it's like, that was you, Theresa. Like, this was your graduation day. So, for all those who graduated in my class, happy anniversary to our graduation day. Anywho, so back to our topic. So, not today, Satan. So, as you heard the song that was being played, how many people? There's another song that I think about with regards to this topic. It's I'm not gonna be able to do it, and it's an old song. But it basically talks about, not giving another person or giving this particular person a second chance because they blew it, with treating them wrong, or treating them in a not desirable manner, for and leaving them for somebody else is kind of what that song was about. The Kelly Clarkson song, Because of You, talks about the breakup and the relationship hurt that she has endured. And so one of the words is, I'm gonna go back just a little bit. I'm not gonna play it again, but I do want you to know what the words are. It says, "I will not make the same mistake that you did. I will not let myself, because my heart is in so much misery. I will not break the way you did. You fell so hard. I've learned the hard way." And so it goes on to never let you get. I will never let you get that far to hurt me that way again. And the chorus goes, "Because of you, I don't stray too far from the sidewalk. Because of you, I don't want to get hurt." And kind of goes on and on. And so it relates. These two songs relate to our topic tonight. We're discussing the act of avoidance. And I want to just talk about, why do people avoid? And how do you know when you're avoiding something? What's some cues or some warning signs that says, "Hey, Theresa, you are avoiding," right? So people say, like, "I don't want to." Anybody ever said that? Like, just felt like, "I don't want to. I don't feel like it." That's been the statement by just me. I'm the only one. Okay. Well, I have definitely felt that way. I have felt like I don't want to. I don't feel like it. Just outright wanted to say no. And sometimes I have said no, but those feelings come up for a reason, and it's important for us to note that. Now, as we talk about being aware with regards to this week or this month being PTSD Awareness Month, one of the behaviors or common reactions to trauma is avoidance. So people were like, "Of course you're going to avoid. You're going to avoid," as we talked about with trauma and what that is. Then it would make sense if your experience falls into trauma, that you may avoid. But I want, for those who may be like, "Okay, well, I'm not sure if I'm really avoiding. I don't know why I do what I do, or if this is really what that is." That's just me, right? When we have those kind of statements and we're not really sure if it's causing problems or not, I want to just kind of give a few tidbits on what it's like, or what it feels like to avoid. So, when we talk about avoidance and what that actually is, so let me give you the wonderful clinical definition of avoidance. So, avoidance can be this uncomfortable action that are controlled by anxiety producing situations. So something that brings anxiety to you. Some examples of things that people may avoid is skipping class. They may avoid or tasks that they have to do. So what we call procrastination. So it's another word of saying, "I'll put things off, I'll procrastinate." Again, I don't feel like it, I don't want to, right? And so when those things happen, we all have those moments where we're like, "Yeah, I don't feel like it, I don't want to." And like the title says, "Not today, Satan." Like, I'm not doing it, right? Or I'm not dealing with it. We also have those moments where we're like, somebody is like, we put them, as people say, put them on red. So we have avoidance in our communication, where people are blocked. And people talk about unfriending people. So there's a lot of different ways that people avoid, right? So they're avoiding the situation, the person, the place, the thing, the anxiety producing situation or circumstance, right? So I have a wonderful list. It's just to consider situations in which that you are tempted to either procrastinate or avoid, right? You're avoiding the task. So when somebody feels overwhelmed, avoidance may happen. When someone, if you have just you're just trying to find any reason to do anything else but that thing, that may be an example of avoidance. When you want to see, maybe you start to negotiate the moderation of how long or how much. So if you remember, one of our lives that we did was back in, and I don't think it was 2020, actually may have been 2019. We've been talking about the struggles with holidays, and people will avoid their different family gatherings or different things like that because they're trying to, or they won't go, or they're asking questions because they're trying to avoid something that made this anxiety provoking situation. And so that may be one where they're saying, okay, well, I'm only going to stay for 20 minutes. I'm only going to stay for an hour. And again, this is not necessarily saying that you can't have healthy boundaries. I'm going to give you the balance, because you can definitely have healthy boundaries and tell someone, okay, yes, I'm only going to work 9 to 5. At 5 p.m., I'm clocking out. I'm not going to work later, right? But hold on, y'all, need a drink. But with that, when we know that avoidance is becoming a problem, right? So when you are, again, constantly trying to do things in moderation, I'm only going to do it for an hour, 30 minutes. And that same thing, you keep giving that moderation, that may be something that you are avoiding. When it gives you a headache, when you think about it, or when it's presented, that may be a time that you may be tempted to avoid something. When you're worrying about something. And so, for example, if you are worrying about a scenario or a situation, worry can cause someone to avoid, right? And avoid is a huge thing that a lot of people do often. And I do mean often. I'm gonna give a few more. Everyone ever have that dream where you running and you just in the middle of the dream, you just wake, like that's where the dream starts. The dream starts with you going down this hallway, or you are coming out of something and you are taking off full-fledged, full speed with all your might. You are running. Like they say with Forrest Gump, you are running, right? Anybody ever had that dream, the running dream? When you look on Google, and even when you search it out, that is a very, what they say, a common dream. And they give you a general theme of what this dream means. But people generally, this is all over the world, that people can relate to this running dream. This dream where they are running as fast as they can, and you feel like you're going in slow, and you are putting all your might in it, and you like, and the person or whatever is chasing you is coming full speed, right? Full speed ahead. And you are like, why can't I run faster? Why? And you are pressing in the dream, and it brings so much, whatever your feeling is that the dream brings out, whether it's fear or distress or, anger, whatever that feeling is. Generally, somebody is saying, that the meaning of those dreams means you're running away from something in your life, whether it scares you, intimidates you, something you are trying to, with all your might, to get away from it, but it is still catching up with you. It is still showing up in your life. It is still showing up in your situations. It is just showing up, right? And so it's important that we recognize when those things are happening. It's important that we recognize, and I would say to feel free to ask questions or make comments. It's important that we recognize that happens because it's trying to bring light to something. It's trying to bring light to a situation. And I will say, I'm not here to try to judge anybody's avoidance, but I just want you to be aware of when it happens. When you are overly tired, or when you say I'm exhausted, that may be something that brings up, or maybe have you a sign that you may be tempted to avoid. When you are depressed, when you're angry. One of the main things is that some people avoid people because of the reaction that people bring up. So as you listen to this song, she's saying, I don't even want a relationship anymore. I don't want to engage in a romantic encounter with anyone because of how I was hurt with you. And sometimes we have to be careful, because we will bring the burden or the hurt from a past encounter. um I need to drink some more water, y'all. The past encounter into a new situation, into a new relationship, into a new experience. And that's when we start to see the effects of avoiding. We'll begin to see the effects of get trying to get away, right? And so with the dream that I just gave, so with this uncomfortable thing, we talk about avoidance. One of the things that happens with anxiety is that we can feel it, this worry or this nervousness that happens in a situation that can bring fear or worry, or we can have our physical sensations that we've talked about with trauma, with these racing heartbeats, or again, it could be headache or etc. We feel that, we don't like that, we get uncomfortable. And so that uncomfortable symptom of anxiety is what we people are typically trying to avoid or trying to get away from. And so they will become really creative. People are really creative when it comes to avoiding, and not on purpose. A lot of times it's a subconscious thing where your brain is has just learned so much about you over the years that you're like, why do I do A, B, and C? And it happens so fast that you're not always able to track it. But for example, skipping class. Why do people skip class? Why would you skip class on a certain day? People may skip class because they got a test and they don't want to feel the anxiety of the test. And so you may feel children or have children or young people or whoever that may say, I'm sick today. And as a parent or a caregiver, you may feel like they are just making that up and they're trying to get out of going to school. That may partly be true, but they may be trying to get out of school, but the making up part may not be true. They actually may be having physical symptoms to the feeling that they're trying to avoid, right? They're having physical symptoms and their body is giving a response to these symptoms to say, I don't want to do this, right? Not today. Not today, say, I ain't going to class. Not today. I'm not taking a test. Not today. I'm not going to sit there with this paper in front of me and got to answer questions, and I got to be faced. And that's really what it is. With that, I got to be faced with the thoughts or the reality that I may not understand the questions, or the reality that I did not study, or the reality that sometimes I just don't understand and my mind goes blank. Sometimes the reality of I have a fear of failing, right? So when we talk about the act of avoidance, that act is happening for a reason. Good evening, Lady Dennis. That act is happening for a reason. And it's important for us to know why we do what we do. Because if we don't know the why, we won't be able to change it. If we don't understand, we may be able to change for a temporary solution, but it will never be permanent, because the why will continue to have hold on you, right? It will continue to lock and to come in. And so it's really important for us to recognize, hey sis, it's important for us to recognize why we're avoiding something. So anybody ever had test anxiety? I have had that. And I've taken my licensing test. I didn't pass it the first time. And so that failure, or what I consider as a failure, I didn't pass it like I studied. I thought I knew the information and material. And so going back the second time, I was faced with the reality that I didn't pass it the first time. I was faced with what I may have been trying to avoid before, but I can't avoid it if I take the test again. And so I say that to say this, because it's really important that we recognize that when we have these temptations to avoid, sometimes we avoid, as I said, people. That's just a situation or a test. Some people may avoid class because they don't want to do a presentation, because that presentation makes them come face to face with the fact that they are in front of people. They may have concerns about what people think about them. And they don't want to deal with that day. So not today, Satan. I don't want to do it, right? Nope. I'm not going to be able to stray. I'm staying right here in my safe place. As the song is saying, I'm not coming too far, not coming too close, not opening up, not exposing myself to this scenario or this situation or this reality, right? So I just want to encourage you that when you recognize that this pattern of avoidance, this act of avoidance, where you are skipping out on a situation an encounter, a conversation, a person, a place, a thing, etc. And it continues to happen, and it brings up a lot of stress for you, whether that's a lot of fear, a lot of worry, a lot of anger, where you feel overwhelmed, whatever that emotion may be. And so you continue to skip out on it. Like we skip out on class. We continue to try. And another way people may avoid is trying to not physically necessarily avoid, but may mentally avoid. People will daydream. That's the way people avoid situations. I don't want to be in this class. I don't understand this information. So I'm like, ooh, where would I rather be? On the beach. I'd rather be wherever. And so my brain is like going somewhere else. And they're like, hey, Theresa, hello. And you're like, huh? What? If that happens often and you're losing focus constantly, you may be, the active avoidance may be happening to you. If there's a procrastination, as we talked about before, on tasks or on a challenge or a goal that you're wanting to accomplish, but you keep kind of sliding to the side. Keep sliding to the side. You keep not drawing into it. Could be right there in your face, but you're like, don't really want to look at it, don't want to talk about it, don't want to think about it. Now, I say that because everybody in one case in point, and probably even still now, has some case of avoidance, or we do some type of avoidance with something. So the act itself is not necessarily a problem if it's keeping you safe. I will avoid a tiger in the wild. I will avoid a poisonous snake. Right? Because it's telling me, and even that act of avoidance is telling me something. It's telling me that it's trying to keep me safe from something. But from what? Would it keep me from potentially dying? In that case, yes. Potentially being hurt. And that's the key. A lot of times people are avoiding situations, people, places, experiences because they're avoiding some type of distress or uncomfortable feeling. And a lot of times it's hurt. In this case, with these two songs that talk about a relationship that have happened, they're avoiding being hurt. So people may say things like, when I'm working with someone with trauma, a lot of times what people are avoiding is being vulnerable and the potential of someone knowing that vulnerability or being given access to that vulnerability, and then that person being hurt. So then I'm going to close this door. I'm going to lock it up. I'm going to shield my heart, and you're not going to get into this space because I will not be brought face to face with the abandonment again, with you leaving or potentially leaving. Because once I've opened myself up, there's a risk that happens, right? In love, there's a risk that happens in any relationship because we're opening ourselves up in some way, even if it's a friendship, right? That we're opening ourselves up to someone getting to know us and we're getting to know them. And so when it's kind of like, nope. And sometimes when we talk about what we do to avoid, sometimes as we talked about trauma last week, we will do things to purposely block. And sometimes you may not realize it's on purpose, but as I say, your subconscious mind, you're blocking that vulnerability, blocking that encounter. Somebody may say, what's your favorite color? Why you want to know? Wanted to get you a gift. Nope, don't worry about it. You have to buy me nothing. Okay. And what comes across to somebody as brash or one way, again, could be the act of avoidance of this uncomfortable feeling, situation, scenario, or reminder of such. Because what we are typically avoiding is the reminder of that feeling, the reminder of that situation, the reminder of that hurt, that fear, that worry, etc. And so, as I say a lot of times, just as we said, be aware of different things. Be aware, just be mindful. So just kind of, and when we say be mindful, that just means to really take the thought, to pay attention to your own actions and ask yourself why. If you notice that you're like putting that paper off and you don't really want to write it, or you really want to apply for that job, but you just really haven't, you really want to ask that person out for coffee, or you want to call them and you just really haven't, ask yourself why. Why am I avoiding doing this? Why am I not trying to call? Why have I not put in my application? Why have I not open my own business, reach this goal, whatever that may be. Why am I not pursuing and walking forward in that situation or that thing? And then it will give answers to what you're trying to avoid. Maybe it's like, because I'm not trying to, and fill in the blank. I'm not trying to be hurt again. As the song is saying, nope, you're not going to do me. I'm not, you're going to trick me again. You're not going to make me feel stupid again. Okay. So that gives you some information on where that's going. Where is that going? So when we talk about avoiding, it's important to know that when you're avoiding dealing with that situation, because I will say that your brain is intelligent. We talked about trauma last session or last week. So when it comes to a brain that's experienced trauma, as we talked about, whether it's compound, it's been going on for several years, over and over again, the brain is like a computer, a great, great computer. I won't even try to dumb it down to say computer, but it takes a lot of great notes on you, your experiences, and what's going to keep you alive and safe. Sometimes it will tell itself that something is dangerous that's no longer dangerous, which is what brings anxiety up. People having panic attacks in places that's like, what's wrong? Why did I have a panic attack here? Why can't I breathe? Or why am I worried or stressing out here? Because your brain recognizes something very similar in this situation to one in the past. Or it's telling you, danger, danger, Will Robinson, danger, Theresa, don't go here, don't walk forward, do not pass go, you know. And in that moment, you may be like, this is not dangerous. But you may not realize that. You may just say, okay, yeah, no, and go with it. And so it's important to know that when you are avoiding the confrontation of that situation, being faced with it, being faced with that test, faced with that presentation, faced with whatever the situation, person, place, thing, experience, you're robbing yourself of growth. Because your emotions, your body is trying to show you the place of contention, the place of conflict, and it's also trying to show you the place where you need to grow. And that's a hard thing sometimes to hear, like, well, no. And I will give an example. When I'm working with somebody with trauma, I always give that spiel that when you start talking about unpacking a traumatic event, and whether that traumatic event is a death of a loved one, that traumatic event is a situation, abandonment, abuse, etc., know that it's going to get harder first then it is going to feel better. It's going to feel worse in the beginning because we're undoing this scab that's been like just nicely soothed over. It's just been kind of there, but now we're going to actually unpack it so that we can get it to heal, and not just cover it up, but actually get like a doctor would do, surgically get in there. But in our case, we do it mentally. We get in there and we unpack those uncomfortable things, and sometimes when we do that, people are like, "I'm out." And one way that we notice that as providers, for anybody who may be a healthcare worker or someone who works with clients, when you start to deal with the hard things, they don't show up. So that time, maybe when no shows happen, people cancel, or you just don't hear from them at all. And it may be because they were not ready to face the situation. They were not ready to face that place that was going to help them grow. They may not even realize that it was going to be a place to help them grow. And so sometimes when we are constantly avoiding, we don't even realize what we're missing out on. What's on the other side of avoidance? When we face it, if I didn't go back and look at that test again, I wouldn't have passed it. I wouldn't be licensed and I wouldn't be able to do the work that I do now. If I did not go back to school, at days I didn't want to go, as you say with your children, if you didn't, I would have never graduated. This wouldn't be my anniversary graduation day because I would have said, no, I don't feel like it, not today. And not today would have been not tomorrow. Not tomorrow would have been not next week. Not next week would have been not next month. And it would have continued to go on and on and on. So I'll say, oh, hi, Mother Nellum. Okay, I see a question. Okay, Jerry, avoiding the feeling doesn't heal it. So do you put yourself in that situation to heal if it's safe? So let me read the question again. Avoiding the feeling doesn't heal it. So do you put yourself in that situation to heal? If you want to heal, yes. That's a complicated question when we talk about especially trauma because it depends on what you're trying to heal from. If the situation really is unsafe. So, and let me give an example as we talked about last week. If a child is in a physically unsafe situation, somebody is physically abusing them, Yes, you want to get them out of that. You're not necessarily avoiding the person, but at that time, yes, you are. Which is why you got, CPS, DCS, and all the other S's that whatever state name that they use, will try to get that child out of the situation, or and not say or, but and get that person the help that they need so they can stop that behavior because safety is in place or an issue. So physical harm where it may be destructive or it could be deadly, definitely. Put yourself in a situation to heal only when you have supports around you. And so maybe that's a short answer to your question. Only put yourself in the situation when you have supports around you because that hurt is going to come back up, which is why it's constantly showing itself up. It's why it's constantly trying to present itself and say, hey, Theresa, I need you to focus on me. I need you to know that this is what's happening. And I'm a firm believer that there's no happenstances, things that keep on revolving, things that keep happening. It's time to pay attention to those things. They may be hard to face, but it's important to face them. And so, for an example, with the test, taking a test, I may avoid it today because my stomach is hurting. I don't want to go to school. But when I go back to school tomorrow, the test is going to be there. Teacher's going to tell me, hey, we're giving you till tomorrow to have it done. Or if I could continue to push it off and avoid it, as some people do with procrastination, and I've been guilty and got to work on that too. When it comes to keep pushing things off over and over again, then I'm actually pushing off the consequences and pushing off the benefits of what it can bring. So if I'm pushing off, again, passing this test, taking this test, I'm pushing off the benefit that it can bring to me of passing the test, getting an increase in my grade, and getting out this class and moving forward. So again, going back to that healing and moving forward. So when the act of avoidance is causing turmoil in your life, you're not getting your goal, you're not reaching what you want to do. Want to graduate, I want to open a business, I want to get this job or whatever. In my case, I want to drink more water. If I keep avoiding doing that, and I keep ordering everything else, I'm gonna order pop, I'm gonna order, in my case, I like tea, then I can't get the benefit that that can bring me if I would face it. Drinking water can hydrate my body, give life to my organs, help me feel hydrated. It does so many different benefits, right? So, and we know that, right? We have the knowledge here, but sometimes there's a disconnect between our head and our heart because our heart is saying, no, that's going to be painful. Let's not do that. While our head is saying, okay, yeah, it was painful, but we want to get better. We want to heal from it. We don't. So it's up to you to ask yourself that question. If you are ready to heal, get some strong people around you. And I say strong, I mean strong that can be there for you. When you have those moments that are hard, that they are going to be there as a support, as we talked about before, as a safe person. Somebody that's not going to invalidate your feelings or invalidate the situation, but help you, not necessarily coddle you to let you go back to what's being comfortable, or to that comfort place, but to help you along the way and walk with you on that journey of healing. So that's my spiel for today. And did anybody notice that water was not? It's sitting over here. Did y'all notice that it's just sitting over here? It's just nice and just water. But I didn't grab it, y'all. I kept grabbing this. Sometimes it can be right in your face. I know I see it, but I don't want to talk about it. I'm gonna look at you. I'm gonna look at everything else around the room, except what I need to deal with. This is what I need. And until I take hold of it, acknowledge it, look at it, and drink it in my cane. That's some good water. I will never be able to experience the benefit that it brings. So I encourage you all, if, as we talked about last week, you've experienced trauma, and this has been something that's been a continual cycle of avoidance. I keep leaving it alone. I keep trying to get away from it. Person, place, thing, experience. Then I want you to ask yourself that question. Why am I avoiding? Why am I not wanting to encounter this? And if it's, I'm hurt, I'm scared to be hurt again. I don't want to be angry because they made me feel A, B, and C, or this made me feel A, B, and C. Then ask yourself that second question. Is this a signal that I need to grow in this place. And so, as we said before, growth can also mean that I'm setting boundaries. If I was, I walked up to you and you just constantly just slap me every time in the face, I understand that I can set boundaries and I'm going to say I'm not going to come near you within arm's reach because I'm keeping myself safe and protecting myself. That's an okay thing. And in growth, excuse me, I'm growing and knowing what I need to do to keep myself safe. And that's okay. But when we talk about avoiding to the extent that it's hurting you, you're hurting yourself because you're missing out on life experiences. You're missing out on accomplishments and goals. You're missing out on living your best life and having a good relationship or a healthy relationship. Those kind of things are signals that it's time to face this. It's time to consider facing this and get help facing it, and move toward healing. And that, again, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but staying here and constantly keeping the cycle of avoidance over and over and over sounds like it's not easy either, because you got to keep on getting clever in how you avoid everything that you're avoiding. So I hope that you learned something tonight. If you feel like this is you and you are struggling and you're like, I need some help, I don't know how to get off this hamster wheel of avoidance, I don't know why I'm avoiding, I can't figure it out, my mind is blocked or whatever that may be, feel free to reach out to a provider, someone that can give you that support. Feel free to reach out to a provider that also specializes in trauma. That's important, or that specializes in whatever the concern is that you have, whether it's like I don't go outside no more because, I'm scared to leave my house. Okay, then it's important that somebody has experience in working with someone who has had that happen to them before, so they can know how to treat and respond to your needs. So I'm going to encourage you to don't avoid getting help. Don't avoid getting help. So we talk about not today, Satan. Don't let that be about your help and your healing. Let the not today, Satan, to be, I'm not going to continue to stay here on this hamster wheel. Not today will I continue to avoid my place of abundance, my place of life that I can actually live. And that's our motto here. We are helping the time of need, so we can help you move from a place of just existing and that you get to the abundant life because you're meant to have it. You deserve to have it. And so I hope that you go out and get it. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for joining. We will continue our conversation on this trail of trauma and PTSD on next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific. Hope to see you guys next week. Have a great night, you all. Bye-bye.